The second she picked up that plastic crown, I felt it. That sinking gut drop you get right before something humiliates you in front of a crowd. We were at this lodge her cousin had rented out for his retirement party. Mountains in North Carolina, pine trees, acoustic guitars, way too many mason jars being used for everything. I was trying to blend in, sip my sweet tea, not get dragged into whatever fun game they were setting up next. My name's Derek. I'm 34. I live just outside Asheville. And I've been married to Kayla for 3 years. At least I thought I was. They were doing this dumb relationship trivia thing. What's your spouse's shoe size, first date, all that. Couples stood up, they asked questions, whoever got the most right one. Kayla dragged me up there like we were on a game show. She answered most of the questions before I could open my mouth. She nailed everything. Her cousin handed her a bouquet of fake roses, and someone stuck a dollar store crown on her head. She grabbed the mic and grinned like she'd just won a Grammy. Maybe I'll wear this for my actual marriage someday, she said, and the whole damn room howled. Her mom whooped like it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. Her cousin clapped. Some lady yelled, "Girl, you are wild." I stood there with this stupid smile stapled to my face. Plastic smile for the plastic crown. The MC moved on like nothing happened. Everyone sat down. Plates of catered barbecue came out. Someone handed me a sweet tea refill like I was just part of the scenery. Then Uncle Ron leaned over during dessert and asked, "So how's married life treating you, huh?" Kayla wiped barbecue sauce off her fingers, took a sip of wine, and chuckled. "Oh, this isn't the real deal. He's just my warm-up act. That one hit different." Uncle Ron laughed. So did her sister across the table. I just nodded, didn't say a word. The rest of the night, I was background noise. A footnote. People kept walking past me like I was her prom date or something, not the man who'd signed a mortgage with her. Even when she leaned in later and kissed me on the cheek, all I could think was, damn, she really meant that. And nobody, not one person, saw anything wrong with it. She slid into the passenger seat still grinning like she just won a damn pageant. Her fake flowers were crammed awkwardly in her lap, and that plastic crown was hanging off her wrist like a bracelet. "That was so fun," she said, buckling up. "I haven't laughed that hard in forever. You see my mom?" I thought she was gonna fall out of her chair. I started the car, pulled onto the gravel road. Didn't say a word. She kept going. "I swear, I was the life of the party tonight." "Yeah," I said, cool as hell. "You really stole the show." She missed the tone completely. Right? That joke just landed. Everyone totally got it. See, this is what I mean. People get my sense of humor. It's not mean, it's just real. I kept my eyes on the winding road. The headlights carved a path through the trees. But all I saw was that damn smirk she made when she called me her warm-up act. "You're always so serious when I joke like that," she went on. "But it's not like I mean it. It's comedy. My family knows I don't mean it." I didn't respond. There wasn't anything left to explain. We pulled into the driveway around 10. She grabbed the bouquet and trotted inside like she was bringing home a trophy. I followed. She walked straight to the kitchen, pulled an old mason jar from the cabinet, filled it with water like she was prepping real roses. Then she set the whole thing right in the middle of the table, proud as hell. I leaned against the counter, watching her hum to herself. No apology, no awareness, like she hadn't just told 50 people our marriage was a dress rehearsal. "I think I actually peaked tonight," she said, still laughing. "I should start doing stand-up." I didn't laugh. She headed upstairs to change. I stayed behind, ran the dishwasher, shut off the lights, followed the sound of her electric toothbrush buzzing in the master bathroom. When I walked in, she was barefoot, scrubbing her molars like nothing had happened. Her eyes met mine in the mirror, and she smirked again. "I hope when I get married for real, it's that fun." My chest went tight. "You hear me?" she said, toothpaste foaming at the corners of her mouth. "I heard you." She rinsed, spit, wiped her mouth and turned off the light. We got into bed without another word. She scrolled her phone for a while, then rolled onto her side and snuggled in like nothing was off. A few seconds later, she giggled and whispered, "Good night, starter spouse." I stared at the ceiling. The ceiling fan clicked with every slow rotation. The room was dark, but my mind was bright with all the things I'd ignored. Every time she brushed off something I said. Every time she told a joke at my expense and waited for the laugh track. Every moment she called me too sensitive when something stung. I used to think it was just her being playful. Now it felt like a long joke I'd never been in on. And I was starting to see the punchline. I must have fallen asleep with my eyes open, because when I blinked, the room was full of light and she was already downstairs. The smell of waffles hit first. Vanilla, cinnamon, like Sunday mornings growing up. I got up slow, still wearing last night's silence like a second skin. She was singing when I walked into the kitchen. Singing. In a life is good tone. Like she didn't remember how she'd ended the night. "Good morning," she beamed, flipping a waffle onto a plate. I figured I'd make something real for my practice husband. I didn't respond. She poured syrup like she was icing a cake. "Seriously, last night was a hit. Everyone totally got me. Like I felt seen. Even Uncle Ron laughed. And he never laughs at anything." I grabbed a coffee mug and poured myself a cup. My hand was steady, but something behind my ribs was starting to rattle. She looked over her shoulder, caught my expression, and rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, you're still salty?" I took a sip. "Nope, just thinking." "Babe, it's not that deep," she said, waving a spatula like a baton. "You're being so sensitive. It was just a joke. Right?" I said, nodding slowly. "Anyway, I've got errands to run today." She barely looked up. "Pick up more almond milk if you go near Kroger. We're out." I didn't say goodbye, just grabbed my keys and walked out. By 10 a.m., I was in a quiet office downtown, sitting across from a woman named Diane Holder. Black turtleneck, no frills attitude, legal pad already open. "You referred by someone?" she asked, pen ready. "Yeah," I said. "Coworker. Said you don't waste time." She nodded once. "Then let's not." In 30 minutes, she had a plan sketched out. Separation, timeline, assets, protection. No drama, just logistics. It was exactly what I needed. "You sure you're ready for this?" she asked. I looked her dead in the eye. "I'm past ready." After that, I drove straight to the credit union and opened a separate checking account. Put my name on it and nobody else's. Sat in the parking lot and set up direct deposit changes on my phone. Hands moving fast, breath steady. Every tap of the screen felt like I was finally pulling my hands off a hot stove. It was almost 3 when I pulled back into the driveway. Her car was still there. I walked in, and she was on the couch with a throw blanket over her legs, cackling at some reality show where rich couples scream at each other in rented villas. She glanced at me over her shoulder. "You were gone forever. You find almond milk or what?" I stared at her for half a second. She looked right back at the TV, giggling at whatever mess was happening on screen. I hung up my keys, walked past her, and went upstairs. No questions, no apology, not even a flicker of recognition that anything had changed. And honestly, I was done expecting one. I barely slept that night. She passed out with the TV still on. I lay there, listening to her soft snoring while I stared at the back of her head like it might suddenly turn around and explain itself. Sunday came fast. Too fast. We were already in the car headed to her parents' place before I had the chance to talk myself out of going. Every part of me screamed to stay home, but I wanted to see it with my own eyes. Not just her. Them. The whole damn support system that cheered her on. Her parents lived 20 minutes out in a ranch house with a wide porch and sun-faded wicker chairs. Her dad smoked cigars out back and her mom collected rooster statues like she was running a poultry museum. We walked in and her sister was already there, snacking on chips and setting the table. "Well, look who it is, the warm-up act," she said, grinning at me like we were best friends. I smirked, but nothing reached my eyes. Her dad came around the corner, drink in hand. "You really got him good at the party, Kayla. That crown, that line? I'm still laughing." "Oh God," her mom said, walking in behind him. When she said actual marriage, I about lost it. "We raised a comedian." Kayla tilted her head, fake humble. "What can I say? I was in the zone." "Seriously?" Her sister chimed in. You should go pro with those marriage jokes. People would pay. Nobody looked at me when they said any of that. Just at her. Like I was the set piece that made the punchlines land. I sat down in the living room while her dad turned on the pregame show. He offered me a beer without turning his head. I grabbed a soda instead. The smell of roast beef and garlic filled the house. Her mom always cooked too much. 6 people, but enough food for 15. We all moved to the table when it was ready. I ended up across from Kayla, next to her sister. The second we passed the mashed potatoes, her cousin Lindsay called. Kayla lit up. Put her on speaker. And just like that, the jokes kicked back in. Hey, practice bride, Lindsay said, laughing into the phone. I've been promoted, Kayla shouted. I'm now the CEO of Mock Marriages. Is Derek there? I looked up. Finally, someone said my name. Yeah, Kayla said, smirking. He's here, sitting all stoic, trying not to cry. The table burst out laughing. I chewed my roast beef slowly. Watched them. They all looked at each other when they joked. Never at me. When I said, please pass the rolls, her sister passed them without even glancing. When I asked her mom if the green beans had bacon in them, because they always did, she gave a polite nod and kept chewing like I was background music. They didn't hate me. They just didn't see me. Dinner dragged. I barely touched my plate after that call. Just moved things around while the table relived Kayla's one-liners like she'd done a Netflix special. After dessert, her dad leaned back in his chair, hand on his stomach. You're a good sport, Derek. Good thing you can take a hit. She's a firecracker, this one. I set my fork down, looked right at him. Yeah, I said. I'm learning how to handle fire. That got a few confused smiles. Nobody asked what I meant. They didn't want to know. Monday morning, I walked into work like I'd been up all night. And I had. I made it through the first meeting without snapping. But by the time lunch rolled around, I was at the break room table with Marcus from IT, poking at my sandwich like it owed me an apology. He looked over, mouth full of chips. You good, man? You look like hell. I shrugged. Went to a retirement party this weekend. My wife turned it into amateur hour. Oh yeah? What did she do? Kept it light. Just a lot of jokes about me not being her real husband. Practice marriage, warm-up act. That kind of crap. Whole room loved it. He blinked. She said that to people? I nodded. He shook his head. Man, you're patient. That couldn't be me. I'd be gone. I didn't say anything. Just sipped my Coke and stared at the vending machine like I was waiting for it to explode. That night, she came bouncing in from spin class like nothing happened, still high off the fumes of her own spotlight. You're not gonna believe this, she said, peeling off her hoodie. Mandy and Tasha? They loved the starter spouse bit. Mandy actually said I should write it down and turn it into a TikTok skit. I didn't look up from the pan. That right. She plopped onto the stool behind me. It's like people get me more than you do. You're always so stiff when I joke. They know I don't mean it. Sure. She didn't catch the flat tone. Or didn't care. She kept talking all through dinner, acting like the conversation was mutual. Tuesday night was her board game group. They drank wine, played Cards Against Humanity, and posted photos like it was a college reunion. As soon as she backed out the driveway, I got to work. I grabbed my laptop and external drive from the closet. Pulled out the file box from under the bed: birth certificates, our marriage license, health insurance forms, bank statements, tax returns. I scanned what I didn't already have digital copies of. Took pictures of the physical stuff just in case. Every page went into labeled folders. I set up cloud backups, triple-checked the encryption. Then I logged into our joint account and downloaded every transaction for the past 3 years. Labeled and sorted. I wanted it clean. Bulletproof. After that, I texted Diane, my lawyer. Me. Still good for Thursday? Diane. Confirmed. Bring the documents. We'll draft it all. I sat back in the office chair, heart pounding steady, not fast. It wasn't panic. It was clarity. Around 10:30, I heard the garage door groan open. Her heels clacked through the hallway, stopping in the dining room. She was on the phone. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, wasn't even trying. But the volume she used, she might as well have been on speaker. "No, he's not upset," she said. "He never is. He's basically like a piece of furniture that pays rent on time." Laughter. She kept going. "I mean, yeah, I'm married technically, but it's not like real, you know?" I didn't move, didn't even breathe. The call ended a minute later, and I heard her footsteps head toward the kitchen. She walked in, tossed her purse on the counter, and sniffed the air. "Smells great in here," she said, like nothing happened, like I hadn't just heard her reduce me to a coffee table with a credit score. I didn't answer, just stirred the sauce and stared at the pot like it might swallow me whole. The next night, she was on speakerphone again. Volume up, laughing like nothing in the world had weight. I was walking past the bathroom when I heard her say it. "I mean, yeah, I'm technically married, but it's not like real married. This is just, fine for now." A pause. Then more laughter. "I'm just waiting for the right guy. This setup works until that happens." She was in the bedroom, talking to someone named Jenna from college. Voice all breezy, like she was describing a gym membership she might cancel eventually. I stood in the hallway, hand gripping the stair rail, listening to the casual way she dismissed everything. My time, my love, my name next to hers on a mortgage. I didn't walk in, didn't say a damn thing. I just went downstairs, finished making dinner, and set her plate like always. When she came down 20 minutes later, still grinning, I served her without a word. She ate like it was any other night. Chicken, roasted potatoes, and asparagus. She complimented the seasoning. Told me about a new podcast. I nodded where I needed to, smiled just enough. But inside, something shifted hard. Thursday morning, I got up before her and dressed like I was headed to work. Instead, I drove downtown and walked into Diane's office right at 9. She slid the papers across the table, page after page of clean decisions. Division of assets, move-out timelines, no alimony, no children to fight over. It was almost too simple. "You sure?" she asked again. "Positive." I signed. She nodded once and said, "We'll have her served by Monday." That night, Kayla came downstairs in a dress I hadn't seen in months. Hair curled, perfume sharp in the air. "Let's go out," she said. "I'm just in a good mood lately." I grabbed my keys without a word. Didn't ask why. We went to that little Italian place she liked. Brick walls, string lights, waitstaff that always remembered her drink order. She ordered wine and breadsticks. I stuck with water. She chewed her salad and smiled at me across the table. "You're not terrible to be married to, you know?" she said, like it was some generous compliment. I held her gaze and gave the faintest smile. "High praise." She laughed like I was playing along. Didn't hear the edge in my voice. Didn't notice I wasn't blinking as much. The waiter came, asked how everything was. She chatted him up like always, throwing her charm around like candy. I looked at her then, really looked, and felt nothing. Not love, not hate, just clarity. I watched her swirl her wine like she was in a movie she thought she was starring in. She had no idea it was the final scene. Monday hit like a quiet explosion. I was in the break room heating up leftover pasta when my phone buzzed with a call from Diane. "Delivery confirmed," she said. "Signed for it at reception. She's been served." "Thanks," I said, and hung up. When I checked my screen, there were 17 missed calls. 12 texts. "Kayla. What the hell is this? Kayla. Are you joking? Kayla. At work? Really? Kayla. We need to talk. Now. Kayla. You're overreacting. Kayla. This can't be real. Kayla. Call me." I silenced the notifications and finished my lunch like it was any other Monday. I didn't go home early. Didn't call her back. I stayed late, actually. Took my time. When I walked in around 6, she was standing in the foyer, arms crossed, eyes red and wild. The envelope was still on the counter behind her. "What the hell is this?" she snapped. "You're ending things over a party joke?" I dropped my keys in the bowl, set my bag down, and looked her dead in the eye. "No," I said. I'm ending things over 3 years of being disrespected. She blinked. The party joke was just the last lap. Let's talk about the names, starter spouse, warm-up act, furniture that pays rent. Let's talk about how you humiliated me in front of your family. How you kept the bit going like it was your new personality. Her mouth opened, then closed. She tried to soften her face. Okay. Look, we can fix this. You're hurt. I get that. I crossed a line, all right? But we can go to therapy or something. This doesn't have to be permanent. I shook my head. You still don't get it. She stepped toward me. I do. No, I said firm. You think I'm reacting to a joke. But the joke was just the symptom. This whole marriage, it's been a slow drip of contempt. Little digs, little laughs. Always just enough for you to pretend it was playful. Tears started to fill her eyes. So that's it? You just blindside me like this? I stared at her, calm. I didn't blindside you. I just stopped pretending not to notice. She wiped at her cheek, smearing mascara. You're seriously giving up? You already gave up, I said. You just didn't expect consequences. She was fully crying now, mouth trembling, shoulders shaking like she expected me to break and wrap her in a hug. I didn't move. I stepped around her, picked up the envelope, and handed it back. You practiced, I said. Now go graduate. Then I walked upstairs. Wednesday night, I pulled into the driveway and saw every light in the house on. The front window glowed warm, too warm. Something was up. I walked in and immediately smelled it. Pan-seared steak, mashed potatoes with extra garlic, roasted Brussels sprouts with balsamic glaze. My favorite meal. She was in the dining room, already sitting, candles lit, cloth napkins folded like we were reenacting date night from 3 years ago. She was wearing the blue dress she used to pull out for anniversaries. She smiled like this was a Hallmark movie. Let's just talk. I didn't say no. I didn't say anything. Just hung up my keys and sat across from her. Plate already made. We ate in silence for a minute. She kept glancing up, checking my face like she was watching for a crack. Finally, she put her fork down. I shouldn't have said what I said. I stayed quiet. I know it hurt you, and that's on me. She went on, hands folded tight in her lap. I just wasn't thinking. I had a bad week. I was trying to be funny. Everyone else thought it was funny. I didn't think you'd take it so hard. There it was. The apology wrapped in bubble wrap and distance. You know me, she added. I joke when I'm uncomfortable. And it was a big party. I didn't know what else to say, so I don't know, defaulted. I set my knife down. You keep saying why you said it, not why you're sorry. She blinked. I just told you. Because I hurt you. No, I said. You're sorry this blew up in your face. You're sorry I didn't brush it off this time. But you're not sorry for what it actually meant. I am sorry, she insisted, voice cracking a little. I didn't mean it like that. You meant every word, I said. You've been saying versions of it for years. I was just too tired or stupid to call you on it. She looked down. I didn't know it was that bad for you. That's the problem. She sniffed and reached for her wine. Didn't drink it. Just held the glass like it might save her. I don't want to lose you, she said quietly. What do you even want from me? I let that hang for a beat. Respect. She looked up fast. But it's too late now, I added. I gave you 100 chances to figure it out without me having to spell it out. You turned me into a punchline. Then you turned that into a hobby. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I know, I said. You never do. That's kind of the point. The candles kept flickering between us. Plates mostly cleared. The house quiet. You're a great roommate, Kayla, I said. You kept the fridge full, remembered birthdays, made sure the throw pillows matched. But I don't want a roommate. I wanted a partner. She covered her mouth with her hand like she might cry again. Nothing came out. Just the sound of her swallowing whatever she wanted to say next. I stood up, took my plate, and walked into the kitchen. I didn't slam anything, didn't curse. Just rinsed off the silverware and left the candles to burn out on their own. I was finishing my second cup of coffee when the doorbell rang. Didn't even need to check the peephole, I already knew. I opened the door and there stood her sister, Morgan, holding 2 Starbucks cups like she was walking into a girls' brunch instead of a marriage implosion. She smiled too big. "Hey, can I come in?" I stepped aside. "You already did." She handed me one of the cups. "It's your usual. Thought we could talk." Kayla followed behind her a second later, makeup barely hiding the circles under her eyes. She didn't say anything, just sat on the edge of the couch, arms tight around her middle. Morgan plopped down next to her and leaned forward like she was about to sell me a timeshare. "Look," she started. "I know things have gotten heavy, but come on, Derek. Everyone says dumb stuff, especially at parties. You've been with her long enough to know how she jokes." I sipped the coffee. Vanilla latte. Too sweet. "You mean the starter spouse joke?" I asked. "Or the practice husband? Or the part where she told her friends I'm just rent-paying furniture?" Morgan gave a nervous laugh. "Okay, yeah, some of that was not great, but she didn't mean it. You know she didn't. She meant it enough to repeat it in every room that would clap for her," I said, looking directly at Kayla. "And you?" I turned to Morgan. "You were laughing the loudest." Kayla's head dropped. "You both laughed. You all did," I said steady. "So now I'm giving you exactly what you treated this marriage like, a rehearsal." Morgan's smile finally dropped. She shifted in her seat, mouth slightly open. Kayla blinked fast. "Derek, I get it. Okay? I was wrong. But can we stop turning this into a public execution?" "No," I said. "This was public. Every party, every dinner, every time you made me a punchline in a room full of people I barely knew, you made it public. Now you don't like the stage." Kayla stood up suddenly. "So that's it? You're really doing this?" I nodded once. "Already did. We can fix this," she said, voice breaking. "We can go back. I'll cut the jokes. I'll talk to someone. We can talk to someone." I shook my head. "You don't think the jokes were wrong. You think getting divorced is wrong. Big difference." Morgan looked between us like a tennis match she bet on and was now losing. "How did this even happen?" she muttered. Kayla's voice was barely above a whisper. "I don't know. It was just supposed to be funny." I looked at both of them for a long second, then set the untouched latte down on the table. "That's the problem," I said. "You all thought it was funny. I was the only one who didn't laugh." Then I opened the door again. Neither of them moved right away. "Time to go," I said. Morgan stood up first. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." Kayla didn't even make eye contact as she walked past me. I shut the door behind them and locked it. The house was quiet, and for the first time in a long time it felt like mine. 6 months later, I had a different address, a better job, and zero drama in my day-to-day. Kayla tried everything after I served her. The crying came first, loud and messy. Then came the cooking phase like Meatloaf could rewind time. She even showed up outside my new place once, standing by her car like she was in a movie. I didn't go out. The last time I saw her was at the title company for the house sale. Cold office, neutral walls, real estate agent making fake small talk. She signed her name and didn't look up until the last page. "I never thought it'd end like this," she said softly. I leaned back, pen still in my hand. "You spent years practicing for it." She didn't argue, just nodded like she finally understood. 3 months after that, I ran into Morgan at the grocery store, Ken's soup aisle. She had headphones in and still spotted me before I could dodge. "Hey," she said, pulling one earbud out. "She's not doing great." I waited. "She still compares every guy to you," Morgan added. She didn't know what she had. I looked her dead in the face. She knew. She just didn't respect it. Morgan didn't say anything else, just nodded and walked off. And honestly, I didn't miss her. I missed who I thought she was. Early on, before the jabs, before the smirks, before I realized half her love came with quotation marks around it. But that version of her never really existed. I heard through a friend she got engaged again. Fast. Like barely 2 months of dating fast. Some guy from her gym who really gets her jokes. Turns out she didn't need practice for the right guy. She just didn't want to get it right with me.